Hello, welcome to the 30k channel. I'm your host David.
And I'm Boris.
And we are here for a very quick, sharp 1,000 point game, Auto Reductor versus the Imperial Fists. Now, Boris, it's 2 days before lockdown. I think it's the 3rd right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Lockdown is enforced on the 5th, which is a Thursday, and we were together at the weekend, and we said, well, you know, we've got to get a couple of games in before lockdown if we can, because we had an absolute action-packed month worth of content. It's all had to be knocked on the head because they were coming at the weekend and the following weekends after that. So we suggested a nice little 1,000-pointer.
Yeah, one for the evening after work.
Oh, that's right, because we've both been at work. I've been rushing around all day to get this board built, get everything set up. Boris got here about 6. I think it's about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yep.
So it's going to be a long, well, hopefully not too long a game, but we'll certainly work into the night on this one. But 1,000-point games. We had a game between Militia and my Mechanicum recently.
Yes,
and
great game.
It was a really good game.
Yeah, so much fun. Go watch it if you haven't.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had a couple of smaller games with our Fall of the Aeon Bite and with some Decurion.
Yeah, we started quite small. The Decurion was definitely quite small, sort of kill team-esque. But we started small, went up to quite large on the Aeon Bite. But yeah, it's small, kind of quick pick-me-up games almost.
Yeah. And we rationalised that it was better to do a couple of small ones rather than one 3k game. It's a little bit more harder work, a lot more involved.
Yeah, and you guys get 2 games instead of 1.
Amen. So I built a very special board for this, and I've done a board build video to showcase that. So please go and watch it, and I explain the whole process of building this board. It's cheap and easy, but really effective. And hopefully we'll find out how effective it is in this scenario. So Boris, take us through what we got.
So we are playing Dominion, but it has been modified because we are on the 4x4, so we only have 3 objectives instead of the 5. We've placed them fairly evenly spread throughout the sort of central compound, and we've shrunk the deployment, so we are only in a 6-inch Dawn of War deployment instead of 12, because otherwise we'd end up sort of only 24 inches away from each other turn 1. So yeah. We've got to still come onto the board quite a lot. Other than that, it's just pure stock Dominion objectives, and our secondaries are the normal secondaries for the game.
Yeah, so normal secondaries, so Attrition and Warlord, D3 for those, and don't forget those Dominion points. You score 1 point at the beginning of the turn, I nearly forgot, beginning of the turn to score those objectives. So hopefully it'll be a high-scoring game.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. There is no night fighting. There is random game length. So we play to 5, 6th turn on a 4-up. However,
there is the bitter end. So the Mechanicum player, you can just choose to go to a 6th turn if you want to.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If we quickly look at deployment, the Mechanicum have an extremely small force, which we'll cover very briefly in a second. But they have castled up in a corner with guns facing forward. Pretty much.
Yeah, it looks very scary. Fists, we've kind of gone for a long standard deployment. Infantry heavy, couple of vehicles. With that 6-inch deployment, I think we both found our longer vehicles can't actually fit in lengthways, so they've had to turn sideways. So a little bit of side armour, turn 1, which isn't ideal, but it's a fun consequence. So I'm going to be very much wall of yellow coming off the board.
Yeah, and also for a quick look at the list as well, 30 odd wounds in your list.
34, something like that.
Yeah, and there's about that in Thalax, but I mean, there is literally 9 Thalax and a Magos where you've got 30 Marines and...
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, small elite versus infantry wave. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be very, very cool. All right, we're going to film the armies a little bit different and do the lists, and we'll go through that very quickly right now. 1,000 points of Auto Reductor, led by a Magos Reductor. He's equipped with a Multi-Melter, Mechanicum Protectiva, Power Axe, and a Lucifex. The Mechanicum's Warlord trait is Perfected Targeting. There are 3 Thalax cohorts. They all have 1 Photon Thruster in the squad, and then the 2 heavy support choices are filled out by 1 Crass Venator and 1 Kraknos Assault Tank. The Crass Venator also has extra armour.
1,000 points of Imperial Fists with no Rite of War. Led by a Centurion with Artificer Armour, Power Sword, Refractor Field, and a Solarite Power Gauntlet. He's the army's Warlord and has the Warlord trait Master Tactician. In Elites, we have a Contemptor Mortis Dreadnought with extra armour, 2 Carriers Assault Cannons, and a Havoc Launcher, and a Rapier Weapons Battery with 2 Quad Heavy Bolters. Troops are filled up by 2 tactical squads of 15 men each. Each one has a Sergeant with Artificer Armour and a Power Fist. As heavy support, there is a Sakaran battle tank, which has been upgraded with las cannon sponsons.
All right, as you can see, the lists for the Mechanicum are small and elite. The Kreknos will deal with the infantry, and the Venator will deal with the vehicles and those rapiers. The Thalax hopefully will do objectives whilst picking off Marines at distance. Boris, what do you got for yours?
So we have a wall of infantry, hopefully to hold objectives. We've got some barricades, Imperial Fists behind objectives. We've got heavy bolters, which Imperial Fists are great with. Oof. And we've got some AP4 with the Caries and the Sakaran. Not a lot of really tough anti-tank other than the las cannons, but I'm hoping either just to hunker down or pop some things early. Other than that, we're just going to try and weather the storm and hold the objectives.
Yeah, I think this mission for the Imperial Fist will be won or lost on taking those Thalax out. And there is a ton of AP4 weaponry which will rip through the Thalax should they come into contact. So the Thalax will need to do a little bit of move, shoot, thrust back into cover, the old Tau battlesuit trick. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm not expecting many charges.
No, I made that mistake in the militia game. Anyway, Mechanicum won the roll off to go first, and they chose to go first, deploy first, but the Imperial Fist won a seize.
We'll give it a go. It'd be nice to maybe get a shot off turn one. So here we go.
Go on.
No, it is a 3, so that would be
Mechanicum turn 1. Mechanicum turn 1 movement, and the entire army has thrust forward. The Thalax in particular have moved their maximum. The Venator here has tried to come up on the side to start whittling down wounds off those rapiers if they can. And then finally the Kreknos has moved forward just a little bit and has its eyes firmly set on those rapiers as well, as it is the rapiers that will do the most damage to the army. Mechanicum turn 1 shooting phase, and we started with the run moves. The Thalax on the far left there went 5. The cohort next to them managed a massive 1. This unit here on top of the hill managed a massive 5 as well, and the Magos ran 3 inches. We're going to now fire some weapons. Finally, a bit of shooting, and the Krass Venator has opened up with its fusil into the Space Marine squad in front of it. It's got 4 shots hitting on 3s. Successfully hit 3 times, and it's 2s to kill. Strength 9 AP 2, and that is 3 dead, and those first 3 Marines will fall. The Kreknos made a risky decision and decided to fire against the tactical Marines because they are so close to the board edge instead of the rapiers. However, the shot targeted the sergeant of the squad but scattered off the board. So nil point from the opening salvo from the Kreknos. Mechanicum assault phase turn 1, and all that was left to do was to do the thrust move for the Thalax. So the Thalax of 3 there moved over 3 inches to their thrust, 8 for the centre unit, and then 4 inches for this Thalax unit here, and they are within 2 inches of that objective. So if they can survive the salvo of firepower from the Imperial Fist, they will score a point at the beginning of their next turn.
Imperial Fist turn 1 movement, and we've just advanced up the board to try and claim some board from the fast Mechanicum. Both tactical squads just push forward, reaching the wall. One's going to run later to see if they can get into the objective. The 2 vehicles have moved down the flank to try and give themselves some hold down cover against those nasty Mechanicum weapons, but also take some shots at some Thalax. And finally, the 2 quad bolters are just giving themselves hold down to try and bring their weapons against the Thalax. Imperial Fist shooting phase turn 1. First to activate was the large tactical squad, which ran 4 inches towards the objective on our right flank. First to shoot are the quad rapiers. A little bit of a debate, but we decided not to go for the Thalax squad on the objective because we won't be able to wipe them out. Only 1 quad can see them. So we're firing at the Thalax squad in the middle of the compound. 1 moved, so we're snap shooting, and 1 didn't, so we're firing at full ballistic skill. Starting off with 6 shots, twin linked with the snapshots. It's not a single hit yet, but we have a twin linked. Nothing. That's really unfortunate. However, we now have 6 shots hitting on 2s. Oh, 2 1s. However, we get a reroll thanks to twin linked. So that is 6 hits. That's really good. And we need 4 to wound, strength 5 times 5. Not great. Only 2 wounds, and they do have a 4-up cover save or a 4-up regular save. Either way, both failed.
6-up, feel no pain.
Both failed. So that is 2 wounds dealt to the lead Thalax. That's not a bad start. Next to shoot, just taking a chance, the squad that took casualties fired a couple of bolt gun shots at the Thalax squad on the objective. 2 hits, 1 wound, but no wounds dealt. Next to fire is the Mortis Contemptor with the double carries. Due to a bit of positioning, only one is in line of sight to the Thalax on our right-hand side. So only one can fire, starting off with 6 shots from the first carries. 5 hits, not too bad, and we are wounding on 3, strength 6, toughness 5. Only 3 wounded, however, 2 of those are Wrens, so it would cut through their armor save, but they are getting a 4-up cover, so that's 3 4-up covers. 2 get made, and then feel no pain. No, so we do deal 1 wound to the Thalax. Next to fire is the Havoc launcher on top, targeting the rear Thalax of that squad, because that's all it could see. Rolling to hit, we rolled a 5 and a scatter, but BS5, so reduced it to no scatter whatsoever. 2 hits, so 2 strength 5 hits, winning on 4s, 1 wound, so we have a single save from the Thalax, which fails, and no feel no pain, so that is another wound dealt to the squad. Last to fire is the Sakara battle tank. We put it hull down just to try and keep it safe for a next turn. However, this means the sponsons and the hull weapon can't fire. However, the turret accelerator cannon is going to target the same Thalax squad that the Dreadnought did. So we have 6 shots hitting on 3s. It's not bad. 4 hits. However, it's twin linked. So that's 5 hits. We are strength 7, toughness 5, so 2s to wound. That is 4 wounds. No armor save. However, they do get a 4-up cover save. So 4 4-ups, 2 saved and 2 failed.
Feel no pain. 2. So that lead Thalax is dead.
End of turn 1 for Imperial Fist. No charges, obviously. Pretty good. We did a lot of damage and a lot of wounds to the Thalax. More importantly, the Thalax lost 33% losing a model, failed their leadership check, even on a stubborn leadership 8, and ran 8 inches back towards their own board edge. So for a turn at least, we have negated 1 whole squad of Thalax.
Mechanicum, turn 2, movement, and at the beginning of the phase, the Thalax that fled in the previous turn failed the leadership test and have fled off the board. However, in other news, this cohort here managed to score the Thalax a point for being the objective at the beginning of the turn. Also, this unit moved forward to claim that objective for the next turn. The Kragnos has stayed more or less in the same position, but will fire its rockets up into the air onto that tactical squad. The Magos is lagging behind, and the Kraus Venator has made a daring attempt to try and silence those AP4 weapons of the heavy bolters. Mechanicum, turn 2, shooting. We're going to start off with the Kraus Venator firing super close into the heavy bolter teams here. We've got 4 shots hitting on 3s. That's 3 hits. That's not too bad. Strength 9, toughness 7, 2s to wound. That is 3 wounds, but because of the angle, the quad teams will get a 4+ cover save.
3 4-up cover saves. Only 1 made, so that is 1 quad bolter completely gone.
Next to fire, this cohort here will fire 1 lightning gun into the tactical squad, so needing a 3 to hit. Does strength 7, shred and rending. That is 1 wound, so 1 3-up armor save for the Marines.
Passed.
Oh. This photon thruster will open up. There is a 4-up cover save, but because of Jinskine, there is a -2 to that, so they'll get a 6-up cover. 1s a get hot. I said it. 4-up armor save. Passed. Strength 6, toughness 4, 2s to wound, and there's a 6-up or die. Oh, that's 1 TAC Marine pipped from that squad. And then finally, we've got 1 photon thruster and 1 lightning gun. So we'll start with a lightning gun. 3s to hit. Shred and rending, 2s to wound. Oh, that is a rend, so 6-up cover.
Oh, passed.
Unbelievable. And then finally, the photon thruster, 2 hits. 2s to wound. 2 6-ups. Come on. Okay, that is good. And that could be the sergeant. So we're just going to go work that out very quickly. That was definitely lucky. The wound, the 3rd and final wound, did clip the sergeant on an AP2. He tried to look out, sir, and failed. And the artificer armoured sergeant there has died. So that was a reasonable result there for the Thalax. Kragnos opened up with its weapons battery, targeted the Centurion and the squad, but scattered onto the wall. And after the 3 shots were placed, only 1 TAC Marine was hit, unfortunately. It is Fleshbane, so 2s to wound. Brilliant. 3-up armor save.
Ah, hot diggity dog.
After a lackluster shooting round, the only thing to do was the Magos here, and he ran forward 4 inches behind the Cryos Venator. Mechanicum turned to assault phase. The only thing to do now was the thrust moves, and here the photon thruster armed Thalax went to the back of the queue so he doesn't get sniped out early game, and the Thalax that had taken 2 wounds has shuffled to the middle of the squad and also out of line of sight just to protect them for the shooting phases before they launch into the Imperial Fists, and they are in range of that objective to score it in their subsequent turn. So fingers crossed, we can weather the storm again. We are getting through these Imperial Fists. Reducing that quad mortar battery down by 1 has certainly helped, but we'll see what we can do.
Movement phase turn 2 for the Imperial Fists, starting with the quad bolter who've lost one of their artillery pieces, just sat still, and hopefully going to put some fire down range later. The tactical squad that took a bit of damage last turn, but with the Centurion in, rolled a mighty 6 for their move through cover. We took a bit of a gamble because we could be stranded in the middle of nowhere, but hopefully we're going to push forward and maybe even risk a long bomb charge into those Thalax in the center console. Further in the middle, the other tactical squad pushed onto the objective, claiming 1 Dominion objective. The Mortis Dreadnought out of range of mostly everything, so it's just going to move forward and probably do a run move later on. And finally, the Sakaran just rotated in position and is hopefully going to put some long range shots down onto its opposite Venator. Shooting phase, turn 2 for the Imperial Fist, started with some run moves. The Mortis rolled a 3 and just brought itself starting to breach into the compound. The tactical squad right next to them rolled a mighty 6, just spreading out and really claiming that Dominion objective, and hopefully getting ourselves a bit more into cover from the fearsome Mechanicum firepower. Turn 2 shooting phase for the Imperial Fist. We're going to start with the quad heavy bolter targeting the Thalax cohort in the middle of the board. We have 6 shots hitting on 2s thanks to the Imperial Fist rule. All hit, no need for the twin links, and wounding on 4s, a strength 5. Average 3 wounds. They would get cut through their armor, but they have a 4-up cover save, so 3 4-up saves. Failed 2 and feel no pain. Failed by, so that's 2 wounds to the front Thalax. Next to fire, a bit of a tricky one. We decided to fire the bolt pistols from the tactical squad at that lead Thalax in the hopes of possibly charging. It will be an 11-inch charge. It's unlikely, but if we do kill him, we'll knock the squad off that objective, putting them outside of 2 inches. So if we kill him, we won't be able to charge, but we will stop them scoring. That is good either way, but we'll have to see what we can do. So 4 shots hitting on 2s, thanks to the Imperial Fist rule. 1 still missed. However, we are wounding on 5s. No wounds, unfortunate. Last to fire is the Imperial Fist Sakaran, and we're going to try and put a couple hull points on that Venator from the Mechanicum. A bit of variable cover save here from each of the top weapon and each sponson, so we'll do these one at a time. Starting with the Accelerator Autocannon, we're hitting on 3s. Here's really luckily twin linked because that is 4 misses. Okay, that's not too bad. 5 hits. We now need 5s to glance, 6s to pen. Not a 1. That is really unlucky. However, let's see what we can do with the sponsons, as it is stationary. So the right hand sponson is a 4-up cover save. We need to hit first. It is a hit. Strength 9, side armor 12. We need a 3 to glance. That is a glance. However, this is a 4-up cover save, which is failed. So that is 1 hull point on the enemy tank. That's really good. However, we now have the left hand sponson, which is a 5-up cover save due to obscuring, hitting on 3. That is a hit. 3+ to glance, and that is nothing. So that is a single glance from all that shooting. That's really not that great, but I'll take the single glance. Turn 2, Imperial Fist Assault phase. Bit of a Hail Mary, but we have the tactical squad are going to go for a very long bomb charge against that Thalax squad. Single shot from Overwatch, which is ineffective, so we now need an 11 to make it in. I saw the 6 one was happy for a minute, but that is a 10, so that is just short. End of turn 2 for Imperial Fist. Really mixed bag there. We are inside the compound, which is really great. We're pushing in. We haven't lost too many yet, and we've dealt out some hurt. However, that failed charge by a single inch and the failure of the Sakaran to do any meaningful damage to the enemy tanks is really worrying. We're facing a lot of firepower next turn. We'll see if we can hold out and beat them later.
Mechanicum turn 3 movement phase started very well. This Thalax cohort here scored 1 objective, and this Thalax cohort here managed to capture the control terminal there at the beginning of the turn. So far 3 victory points scored total in this game. Now, everything has moved in, and our plan is to wipe out this entire unit. One thing that this army is good at is picking one unit and deleting it rather than splitting the firepower up between multiple units. So if we can get rid of the Warlord, that's an additional D3, and then that squad will count towards attrition as well. So fingers crossed, we can wipe out this central squad. Everything else will be secondary to that, and we'll have to worry about the other units later on in the game. Mechanicum turn 3 shooting phase, and finally the Kraknos has paid dividends, fired its 3 shots into the air and caused 10 hits on the tactical squad in front of it. We now need 2s to wound to Fleshbane, and that is 9 wounds.
So we have 9. We'll do them in 3s because we get to the Centurion up front. So 3 ups at a time. That's 1 dead. Do 2 ups. 2 at a time rather. 2 made. Next 2. Both made. 7. And the last 2. Both made. So that is a single Marine dead.
Let's hope this Thalax cohort can be a little bit more lucky than the Kraknos there. But there is 2 lightning guns firing into this squad. So 2 3s to hit. 1 hit, strength 7, shred and rending. And that is a rend. We will take that rend. So 1 lead Marine is dead. Now we'll go on to the photon thruster. 3s, 1 hit, 2s to kill. Oh, thankfully. And now a blind check. We forgot that in the previous turn. So initiative, pass, that's fine. So 2 Marines dead from that squad. And then finally, this Thalax cohort will shoot. Again, 2 lightning guns, hitting on 3s. Oh man. Shred and rending, 2s to wound. That is another rend, killing another Marine. And then the photon thruster gets hot, 4 up armor. Passed, thankfully. 2s to kill. And that is another Marine dead.
The next model in range was actually the Centurion. So we'll do a lookout sir onto a regular Marine, which fails. So he does have a refractor field. It's a 5 up invuln. Passed. So he shrugs it off.
God damn it. The final shot of turn 3 will be the Cryos Venator. There was a really good case to try against the Mortis Dreadnought, but as we said, we really want to pip out the Centurion, and we've got a reasonable chance of doing it with the Venator. However, the Imperial Fist will get a 4-up cover save, so we'll see how we go. So 3s to hit. Oh, it's not going to do it with that. So we only got 2 hits. It's 2s to wound. 1 wound, 4-up cover. Oh, that was an absolute fail. Mechanicum turn 3 assault phase. The only action was for the Thalax that were on the computer holding the objective, rolled a 9 for their thrust move, and they have moved out of range of that objective because the Imperial Fist will move forward and try and claim it, and they will probably charge, and that is a charge we will not survive. The other Thalax unit moved back 6 inches to gain control of their objective. At least they might be able to weather the storm from the Imperial Fist to stay alive and score another point. A very tricky turn, very unlucky to not take out that Centurion. He had some amazing saves.
Turn 3, movement for the Imperial Fist. A tough turn. The large tactical squad rolled a 6, which moved through cover. Just bring itself around to fire some bolt guns at that wounded Thalax squad in the middle. It is, however, still claiming the objective. We did score 1 at the beginning of this turn as well, so we're a little behind the Mechanicum. The Sakaran brought itself fully up at combat speed to aim at the side of that Mechanicum tank, doing a lot of damage to us last turn. The Mortis pushed into the compound further to bring both its carries against the Thalax at the back of the board. The Rapier sat still as it is slightly hull down and can just about see some Thalax. And lastly, the incredibly wounded tactical squad with the Centurion in. It was a tough call. We could have pushed further into the compound and sat on that middle objective, but we would have just absolutely been destroyed next turn, no doubt about it. We were lucky last turn. We could have moved towards either Thalax squad attempting a charge, but it was a 10 and an 11-inch charge respectively with the move through cover turns moves. So as a compromise, we've pushed towards the wounded Mechanicum Venator. It is only a 5-inch charge from the front model. It isn't chasing the objectives, but it is whittling down the Mechanicum firepower a lot.
turn 3 Imperial Fist shooting phase, starting with the tactical squad. A single Marine is in line of sight to that Thalax hiding behind the generator. We're going to fire a single bolt pistol because possibly we might be able to charge later on in the turn if we don't kill him. So a single bolt pistol, 2s to hit. That is a hit, 5s to wound. That is a wound, so we might do the business.
My word. 4 up. Ooh.
Saved. So we will try a charge later. Next fire is the quadruped bolter. It can just about see the top of one Thalax. It's a bit of a cheeky shot, but Mechanicum being very sporting, let us have it. We have 6 shots from the remaining quad, hitting on 2s with a single miss. Rerolling for the twin link, that is all hit. Wounding on 4s, strength 5, toughness 5. That is only a single wound, unfortunately. 4 up cover save, that is a fail. So feel no pain is a fail. So we deal a single wound to the Thalax, not too bad. Next fire is the Caries on the Contemptor Mortis at the enemy Magos, the HQ. We were tempted to fire at the Thalax on the objective, but they are mostly full strength squad. No chance we'd peel them off the objective, but however, the Warlord is worth D3 at the end of this game. So we're going to try with the Caries first. We have 12 shots hitting on 2s. That's not bad at all. So a single miss. We're going to swap back to the yellow dice. And then we are strength 6, toughness 4. So we are wounding on 2s with 6s being rending. So that is 10 hits, 2 of which are wounding. So if you take, so rending, apologies. So take, it doesn't really matter which way around it is.
Rending first.
Rending first, sure. 2 rending wounds.
Mechanicum Protectiva, 4 up invulnerable. Double 2, doesn't matter. Dead. That gives up D3 victory points to the Imperial Fist.
Last to fire is the Sakaran. It's changed targets this turn and is targeting the other Mechanicum tank. It is going to fire 2 weapons at full ballistic skill and 1 on a snap fire. However, the cover saves don't make too much difference. So we have 2 las cannon sponsons targeting the side armor of 12, hitting on 3s. 1 hits, 1 misses. It is 3s to glance. That is a pen, however, there will be a 4-up cover save for the tank, which is passed. We then have 6 shots from the accelerator autocannon, twin linked, hitting on 3s. That is 2 that have missed. Reroll, oh, that's all that hit, that's great. Strength 7, armor 12, so we need 5s to glance, 6s to pen. That is only 2 glances, however, these have a 5-up cover save. Both failed, so that is 2 glancing hits on the vehicle. Not enough to destroy it, but I'll take that. Turn 3 assault phase for the Imperial Fists. We have 2 quite important charges here. First is the tactical squad with the Centurion in. We're going to try an 8-inch charge against the Mechanicum Venator. So we need an 8, 6 plus cover, or a 6. So would have done it without the cover, but no luck. On the other side, we have the tactical squad. 1 can just about see. He took 2 shots, 2 shots from each of the Thalax and Overwatch, but with no effect. We'd have another 8-inch charge. Oh, they make it in on a 12, unbelievably. Charging in the Imperial Fist tactical squad. 9 models were in range, one of which is the Sergeant, so he's going to swing last. Swing at initiative step 4, we had 8 tactical Marines with 16 attacks, 9 hit, and 4 wound. After saves and feel no pains, a single wound went through, killing one of the Thalax on 2 wounds.
Striking at initiative 2, the 2 Thalax struck back with 4 attacks, getting 1 hit, but even being strength 5, they also failed to wound. It was very unlucky.
Last swing at initiative step 1 is the Sergeant with his Power Fist. 3 attacks on the charge, so hitting on 3s. That's classic Power Fist. Only a single hit, wounding on 2s. There's a single wound. The Mechanicum being toughness 5 do get their feel no pain, which they fail, so that is a single wound that brings down another Thalax.
At the end of that round, the Thalax did lose the combat, however they are stubborn with leadership 8. A 6 was rolled, and that Thalax is stubbornly staying in combat with the Imperial Fists.
End of turn 3 from Imperial Fists, really variable, but perhaps the winds are changing. That tactical squad staying in combat was a real bonus for us. Keeps them protected from the Mechanicum shooting next turn. However, the Centurion squad failing the charge, being left in the open, means they are now almost certainly going to be the sole target of the Mechanicum shooting.
Mechanicum turn 4 movement, and this Thalax squad were on this objective at the beginning of the turn, scoring the Mechanicum another point. They've moved off it just to make sure their lightning guns are in range, and we are going to try and snipe out that Centurion. The Cryos Venator has moved back. We do not want to receive a charge again in the next turn. And it looks like it's going to be easier to target the Mortis rather than the tactical squad there. And then finally, the Kragnos is pretty much ended up where it started. It's backed off a little bit. Its lightning gun sentinels, unfortunately, will not get in range in this game, and they will try and fire high up into the air and pepper this squad. Mechanicum, turn 4 shooting, and the Kragnos does it again, fires high into the air, gets 3 hits, lands it on that tactical marine, and gets 7 wounds in total. So we'll start with these 3 and work back.
So taking these 3 at a time due to the Centurion squad. 3 up armor saves, passed. All passed, amazing. And last 7th wound, passed as well.
Oh.
Holy hell.
Hot diggity dog. Next to fire, the 2 lightning guns from the squad, and they will go into this tactical unit here. So 3s to hit from the lightning guns, 1 hit, 2s to wound, shred and rending. So 1, 3 up armor on the tactical marine just there.
That is passed.
Oh, God damn it. And then we'll go on to the photon thruster. 2 hits. This is what we want. 2s. Yes. So 6 up cover from the barricade for the tac marine. Failed. The 2nd wound goes on to the Centurion, which has a lookout, sir.
Lookout, sir. Passed.
Oh, and that kills 2 tactical marines. There's also a blind check from the squad, so initiative or equal or under. And the squad has passed. Very tough decision the Mechanicum need to make on their own, seeing as their Magos Reductor has died. The original target was the Cares Dreadnought, the Mortis Dreadnought, but the Bloodlust is up, and the Mechanicum are confident they can take out the Centurion. So we are going for the Centurion to get some D3 objectives at the end of the game for Warlord. So here we go, 3s to hit. That is not a good start. 2s to wound. That is an even worse a start. So the closest model is Centurion, but we need to look out, sir.
Look out, sir. Passed.
Oh.
So the closest would be the character out, the marine out of cover. So he just straight up dies.
What a waste. Mechanicum, turn 4 assault phase, and we're into the combat between the lone Thalax with a photon thruster and the 15-man tac squad. So the Imperial Fist went first with 8 attacks, 5 hits, 4 wounds, and unbelievably, the Thalax made all of his armor and feel no pain. He then struck back at Initiative 2 with 2 attacks, 2 hits, but failed to wound. And now finally, the Sergeant with his fist will try his luck.
So Sergeant strike Initiative 1, 2 attacks, only 1 hit, 2s to wound. That is a wound, no save, but I feel no pain.
Come on, 6 up. Fails. So the Thalax do lose the combat by 1. They are stubborn. We need to pass this to keep us in the game. Oh, and that is passed on a 6. Extremely lucky. The final action of the assault phase was for this Thalax unit here to do their thrust move. They got a whopping 8, moved back onto the objective and put the wall between them and the Mortis Dreadnought. On the whole, not a bad turn. In hindsight, I think the Venator should have targeted the Dreadnought, but we were so desperate to get Warlord. But we might get another crack at it in the next turn, so we'll see what happens.
Imperial Fist turn 4. We don't score any points at the start of this turn, unfortunately. We're hoping to possibly wipe that Thalax squad and consolidate into the centre of the board, but that's how it goes. The Mortis and the Centurion squad moved up inside the compound. Centurion's going to go for another charge at the enemy Venator. We'll see what happens. The Rapier battery has moved up onto the hill to give itself a field of fire. And lastly, the Sakaran continues its push down the flank to bring its weapons into the side arc of that other Mechanicum tank. Hopefully we can destroy it this turn. Turn 4 shooting for the Imperial Fist, starting with the Rapier that moved up onto the hill. It's going to target the Thalax squad that is left out in the open on the objective. 6 shots, hitting on 6s because of snap firing. That's pretty good. 3 from to start with. Twin linked, no extras, but we'll take the 3. That's quite good. Strength 5, toughness 5, 4s to wound, unfortunately no wounds. Oh well. Next to fire is the Contemptor Mortis in the centre of the compound. It's going to target the same squad of Thalax. Starting with its Cares assault cannons, we have 12 shots hitting on 2s. That's not bad again, so a single miss, that is 11 hits. And then wounding on 3s with strength 6. That is 3 fail to wound, so 8 wounds. 2 are rending, however that doesn't matter because the AP goes through the armor anyway. So 8 wounds against a 5-up cover save we've agreed for the barrier being in the way.
Oh, all right, here we go. 5 ups. Save 3. We'll take that. And then 6 is for feel no pain. Nothing. So it's 5 wounds dealt out. That'll kill 1 Thalax and kill the second Thalax. 1 remaining.
Finally, the Havoc Launcher on top fired at the single remaining Thalax. It scored a direct hit, however failed to wound. Last to fire is the Sakaran on the flank of the Imperial Fist, targeting that enemy Mechanicum tank. We have 2 sponsons as we only moved a small amount of distance. So 2 las cannon sponsons fires, hitting on 3, same as before, only 1 hit. We need 3s to glance. That is a single glancing hit, however there is a 5-up cover save. So that's 1 whole point taken off for a grand total of 3. It has 1 remaining. We have the accelerator autocannon to fire. We have 6 shots hitting on 3s. That's awful. 4 misses, but we do have twin linked, really, thankfully. Still 2 misses. We now need 5s to glance and 6s to pen. Oh, that is 1 glance, and we have a 6-up cover save. Unbelievable. That passes. So that tank is alive by the skin of its teeth. Slight correction, one of the las cannons should have snap fired. However, only 1 hit anyway, and we roll off to see if it was the snap firing one. It wasn't, so the result is exactly the same. Turn 4 assault phase for the Imperial Fist. We're going to go once again with the Centurion attempting a charge against that Venator of the Mechanicum. It's a 4-inch charge through cover, so we need a 6 on 2 dice. Oh, just a 7, so they only just make it in. Combat, first up is the Tactical Squad. The entire squad can now encircle that lone Thalax. We had 14 attacks, only 7 hit, but out of those 4 wounded. So we now have 4 wounds on the Thalax.
All right, this is where the Thalax needs to shine. 4 up armor saves. All passed, brilliant. Striking initiative 2, the Thalax will come in with 2 attacks, 4s to hit, 1 hit, strength 5, toughness 4, 3s to wound, nothing. And now we're on to initiative 1.
So the Imperial Fist Sergeant, he has to do something here to prove his honour. 2 attacks, both hit, that's what we want to see. 2s to wound, classic, so 1 fails to wound. However, that is 1 that goes through. There is a feel no pain.
All right, 6 up, come on. Oh, that is absolute gold. So, unbelievably, the Thalax has staved off the attack from the Imperial Fist, and combat ends in a draw.
Next up, the big combat. We have the Tactical Squad with Centurion versus the Mechanicum Venator. Starting off, we'll give the 2 Marines a try. They're both going to throw a crack grenade into the rear armor 10. 3s to hit. 1 hit, strength 6, rear armor 10. We need a 4 to glance. Absolutely nothing. However, we now hope that the Centurion can make us proud. He has 5 attacks with the charge and 2 melee weapons, as the Solarite Gauntlet is not a specialist weapon. So 3s to hit. No need for the Master Crafted. It is strength 8, 2s to glance, and that is easily a wrecked vehicle. We then have to roll on the vehicle damage table, and we do get 2, it is AP1, so that is 2 explode results. We'll work out the damage and come back to you. The Venator then exploded 2 inches, clipping the Tactical Squad, wounding twice and bringing down a Tactical Marine. End of turn 4 for the Imperial Fists. That was a lot better turn than the last couple of turns. It's really swinging in our favour now, but we need to remain vigilant. Bringing down the Venator was great. It was really scary. Staying in combat actually isn't the end of the world, as we then can't be shot at next turn. However, we're not gaining any victory points, and the Mechanicum will gain 1, putting them further in the lead. So we'll have to really see what we can do. Finally, the Thalax, the lone Thalax on the objective, took a leadership check, thanks to losing 2 models in the squad, and passed on an 8.
Mechanicum, turn 5 movement, and there are 3 models left on the game for the Mechanicum. So let's see what we can do. Our goal here is to take out the Warlord for additional D3. The Thalax started the turn on that objective and scored another point. It then subsequently moved back 6 inches. He has orientated himself to put his photon thruster into the Warlord, and the Kreknos assault tank has done exactly the same. It will fire everything it can into those 2 Marines. Mechanicum turn 5 shooting phase, and the Kraknos fired its battery high in the air, landed, got 1 direct hit and 2 scatters, but managed 2 wounds on the Centurion and the tank squad member there. But both were saved, unfortunately. But now we are in range of the 2 Lightning Blaster Sentinels, 3 shots apiece, Strength 7, AP 5, Shred, and Rending, hitting on 3s. Let's pray for some luck. So that's failed, 2 misses. So 4 hits, 2 to wound, Shred, and Rending. Okay, so no wound. Oh, sorry, 4 wounds, but no rending. Boris, what are you going to do?
Okay, so we'll do these slightly laborious, but look out, sir, one at a time and then save. So look out, sir. Passed, save, failed. So straight away, we have 3 wounds left on the Centurion. 3 2-up saves, all passed, but he's left on his own.
Hot diggity dog. This Thalax has an opportunity to snipe out the enemy commander with his photon thruster. Let's see what he can do. 2 shots, hitting on 3s. Come on. Oh, I failed at the first hurdle. Strength 6, AP 2, 2s to wound. It does wound, 5-up invulnerable.
Refractor field save.
Oh my word, that Marine is invincible. Mechanicum turn 5 assault phase, and we go straight into combat between the lone Thalax that's held off this Imperial Fist combat. They struck at initiative 4 with 14 attacks, 9 hits, and there was 2 wounds. So we need 2 4-up armor saves or we're dead. Well, we both fail, but we do get Feel No Pain. Double 6 here for the win. Oh no. Okay, the Thalax is dead, and the Fist will consolidate. A
5
mighty
inches.
5, lovely. The final act of turn 5 assault phase was this Thalax managed a 6-inch thrust move and has hunkered down behind that rock between the Kraknos assault tank. Hopefully we can stave off the attack from the Mortis Contemptor, and that'll deny the Imperial Fist a point towards their attrition victory points. It's a very, very tense game. The Imperial Fists have taken over that bunker, or that complex rather, so let's see what they've got in their final, potentially their final turn.
Turn 5 Imperial Fist movement phase, and potentially the last turn of the game. That consolidate from the combat really helped us. We scored a victory point at the beginning of our turn, bringing us up. We are still quite far behind the Mechanicum, but we'll see what we can do. The tactical squad are then pushed out, ready to possibly charge that Kraknos. The Centurion, now alone, did a move through cover, just pushing himself into the middle of the compound just to get himself in cover in case there is another turn playing. The Mortis strode forward to bring its guns to bear against the lone Thalax left on the board, and the Sakaran is staying still with its guns trained in the side armor of that Kraknos. Really hope we can kill it this turn. Turn 5 Imperial Fist shooting. We start with the Sakaran. We're going to target the enemy Kraknos with a single hull point left. Sat still, so we're firing everything at full ballistic skill this time. We have 1 Sponson las cannon firing with a 4-up cover save. So that is a hit. We need a 3 to glance. That is a glance and a fail. So that is the enemy Kraknos dead on the first shot. It is glanced to death, so it is just wrecked. Next to fire is the Contemptor Mortis of the Fists. It's going to target all its weapons at the lone Thalax at the back of the board. It is heavily obscured and will have a 4-up cover save, but we'll start with the Carey's assault cannons. 12 shots hitting on 2s, 1 miss, very respectable, and then wounding on 3s, a strength 6. That's quite a lot that don't wound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 don't wound, so the Rens don't really matter. That is 6 wounds. There is a 4-up cover save, however.
Oh man, this is really tough. The Mechanicum could win on victory points if we can keep 1 Thalax alive. So we need 4-up cover saves. It might do it. We need at least one of these to be a Feel No Pain. Come on, come on. It doesn't, so it is alive with 1 wound remaining.
Last to fire is the Havoc launcher on top of the Carey's. Targets the Thalax on a single wound. Fires, scatters 1 inch, but still hits, and wounds on the roll of a 4. So we have 1 wound remaining on the enemy Thalax.
Oh, this is really tricky. We need a 4-up cover save, armor save, whatever you like, and it is passed, thankfully.
Last to fire is the quad rapier heavy bolter. It's just in range by 1.5 inches on the enemy Thalax. We're going to see if we can bring it down and kill the last Mechanicum unit. However, we've got to get through some nasty cover saves. So to start with, 6 shots hitting on 2s, 1 miss, twin linked, still hits. We then have strength 5, toughness 5. We need 4s to wound. That's really not good. So we only have 2 wounds. So 2 4-up cover saves for the Mechanicum.
Holy hell, this is extremely tense. All right, so we need 4-up cover because it's AP4. Oh, double 6 to keep him alive. It's not going to happen, is it? Okay, that's a 4 and 2, and that Thalax has been killed. That was an Imperial Fist win. Congratulations, Boris.
Thank you. That was unexpected, I think. That was nail-biting until sort of the middle of the game.
Yeah.
I think I was really on the back foot and worried because you were streaking ahead on VPs. And yeah, 3-up armor saves. I managed to do them finally.
It was good. Let's do the Vitch points. It is an Imperial Fist win because it was a wipeout. The Mechanicum were wiped out. But we can do the Vitch point because you could see where the Mechanicum were going. They were going for VPs. So in the end, the Imperial Fist scored 2 for the Dominion objectives and the Mechanicum scored 5. However, the Imperial Fist killed, obviously, all the Mechanicum units, which was 6. Mechanicum only took 1 unit out.
Yeah, it felt like a lot more, but the tactical squad got wiped out completely apart from the Centurion left, so 1 tactical squad died.
Hot diggity dog. Which means that Boris does get the attrition of D3 and Warlord D3. Let's have a roll.
2d3 here. That's what you needed for your Feel No Pains. That's a double 6.
Double 6.
So that's 3 each. So that's 6 more VPs.
So 8. So if we had gone and the Thalax had survived, it would have been 5 to the Mechanicum and 8 to the Imperial Fist. So congratulations. That's really
I feel
good.
like I did everything completely wrong. So I was saying halfway through filming that I left the objectives. I didn't really contest them. I charged stuff and went for the wipeout when, you should really play the objective, be sensible. I did everything myself. I knew I was doing everything wrong and it seemed to magically play out. So I think that's an odd bit of fate that there we go.
It was good. I mean, I changed my plan right from the start. Well, I did and I didn't. I was going to go for the objective, aggressive push, but squads of 3 Thalax just aren't enough. They need 4 or 5, I think. But I deviated the target from the Kraknos and the Venator. I knew I should have gone after the Caries, Mortis, and I knew I should have gone for the Rapiers because they're the 2 units that caused me the most pain in the end by taking out the Thalax. And I deviated from my plan and my bloodlust was up.
Mine too. I mean, I didn't really have a plan. I just sort of, muddled around and it seemed to work out somehow. So, I think it worked. We were saying it had 24 or something like AP4 shots a turn. And a lot of them were hitting on 2s. And even then, it took right to the end of the 5th turn to finally drop the Thalax. They are tough, even in only squads of 3. Yeah,
we were very lucky because we got a lot of cover saves throughout the game. But small numbers of 3, they do struggle. But getting through 15-man squads of tactical marines when there's 2-up armor in the squad and the Centurion, that was really tough. I thought the Kraknos would have done the job, but do you know what? It didn't work. And for 225 points, she's a big sink.
It did. I think one turn it did quite a lot of wounds.
Yeah.
A lot of the turns it's just that flips. Sort of flipped off or scattered and then flipped and just didn't hit. It seems quite random, but it's a dice game, isn't it?
It's good. I really enjoyed that game, and I think it just proves that 1,000-point game it is really fun, and we found that particularly with Oliver and I and his militia. It was a really good close game. I also think that in the board build video, I talked about having sort of a central objective and trying to work you around and knowing, when to make your advance and when not. And I think we both approached it quite differently. But if you see where you started and ended, you made some ground with tactical marines.
Just about. I mean, again, it shows the versatility of the Thalax that by turn 2, you were 3 VPs up and I had nothing. And I'd only just got onto 1 objective. And actually, it was only with some very lucky sort of round the corner charges that I got as far as I did. I probably would have been quite a lot further back without that. So those Thalax just give you that versatility to sort of move forward, claim, shoot, and then move back and just be in range. And I had to work really hard to even get some guns into range and sort of to bear. So those Thalax were great, really scary, including the two vehicles. But yeah, it was really interesting. I think the 4x4 really works at smaller points game. I think maybe slightly controversial, but don't presume 6x4 is the golden standard. If you're playing a smaller points game, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you made the point, if it was a 6x4, we would have spent ages just sort of looking at each other.
Yeah.
So I think it really works.
Yeah, if you look at the game between Honor and I, his army was kind of half static, half advanced, and in the end, it all kind of centred on sort of the backfield. And because we were playing Harrow and Anvil, we were 24 inches away, which we were pretty much on this board anyway. So it made no real difference. We kind of all happened on one end on a 6x4. But yeah, who knew that a 4x4 could be so interesting with so much kind of terrain to play over? So I really hope you've enjoyed that. Don't forget the board build for this video is out at the same time as well. So go there, and I built a very, I'd say one-off or special. Not really. It was really, really easy, but I did build the central objective quite specific for this mission. So I think it took an hour to build it. So anybody can do it at home. So no skills required, certainly not on my part. I really hope you've enjoyed this game. Boris, where can we find your escapades?
I'm painting it very occasionally on Instagram at pack_paints.
Brilliant. Of course, you can follow the channel, which is at 30k channel. Photos will be uploaded to Facebook when this game is released. Congratulations.
Thank you again. It doesn't feel quite real.
It was good.
It was great. It was really tense for a 1k game. Brilliant.
Good stuff.
So much fun.
All right. We hope to see you again very soon. See you later.